Hello, there's the start of a new week. You're watching The Pulse on the Joy News channel. Coming up this afternoon, Chinese national accused of grave mining offences placed behind bars for the next 4 years. But the woes of Aisha Huang are far from over, as the government of Ghana says she will be repatriated right after serving her sentence.
Today, she's come to the end of the road. We're able to successfully prosecute her. She's going to spend 4 years, 6 months in custody. It should be a lesson to the others that you may be engaging in illegal mining, but when your time comes, the law will deal with you in accordance with what we've had.
Joy News is today hosting a national dialogue on illegal mining following the devastating effects of the menace discovered in our latest Hotline documentary, Poising for Gold. We'll be bringing you that discussion, which is drawing together CSO's traditional leaders and also the former chairperson of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. Also this afternoon, Joy News is learning that President Akufo-Addo has written to Parliament explaining that he is unable to sign a recently passed legislation that will abolish the death penalty from the country's statutes.
In light of the constitutional issues appointed at our meeting, I am unable to assent to these bills. The concerns raised are significant and have profound implications for the constitutional integrity of this legislation.
Some more coming your way here on The Pulse, brought to you by Global Communities, Digni Lu, Affordable Safe Sanitation. Don't forget that we're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. Follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and also at myjoyonline.com. I am Blessed and Joy News is independent, fearless, and credible. We start off with Aisha Huang right after this. Please stay.
Ghana stands on the verge of an environmental and a health crisis. Our rivers, forests, and children are bearing the brunt of an illegal gold mining crisis. Their future, our legacy, at stake. Join us for an urgent national dialogue and a call to action following the eye-opening Joy News Hotline documentary, Poisoned for Gold. Together we gather experts, policymakers, and leaders united to save our land, our water, and our children. Be part of the solution. Tune in to Joy News, Joy FM, or join us online on the 4th of December, 4 p.m. at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Your voice matters in this fight for our nation's heart and health. Don't let this moment pass. Your engagement can change the future. This event is in partnership with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and WaterAid. Ghana stands on the verge of an environmental and a health crisis. Our rivers, forests, and children are bearing the brunt of an illegal gold mining crisis. Their future, our legacy, at stake. Join us for an urgent national dialogue and a call to action following the eye-opening Joy News Hotline documentary, Poisoned for Gold. Together we gather experts, policymakers, and leaders united to save our land, our water, and our children. Be part of the solution. Tune in to Joy News, Joy FM, or join us online on the 4th of December, 4 p.m. at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Your voice matters in this fight for our nation's heart and health. Don't let this moment pass. Your engagement can change the future. This event is in partnership with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and WaterAid.
And thanks for joining us here on The Pulse this afternoon. Chinese national accused of grave mining offences has finally been placed behind bars for the next 4.5 years. Huang, or Aisha Huang, if you want to call her such, has been standing trial for undertaking mining operations without license, facilitating the participation of some persons engaged in these illegal mining operations, and also the illegal employment of foreigners and entering Ghana while prohibited from re-entry. Well, today, a court actually decided to sentence Ms. Huang to jail for 4.5 years. James Avejay, my colleague, has been monitoring all of that for us, and we've been finding out from James how the judge actually arrived at this decision.
So the Chinese national was sentenced on 4 counts of undertaking mining operations without license, facilitating the participation of persons in mining operation, and on a 3rd count of illegally employing foreigners to undertake in mining operation, and the 4th count of re-entering the country without permit. If you remember, Aisha Huang was repatriated from the country earlier, but she found her way back into the country, and that was part of the count that the judge pronounced her judgment on. Now, in her judgment, her ladyship, Justice Lydia Osei-Mafo, imposed a 3,000 penalty unit on the accused for count 1 and 2, 4.5 years in terms she's not able to pay the fine, and an additional 4.5 years. She was handed a 12-month prison term on count 3 and 1,000 penalty units and a 3 prison term in default on count 4. All sentences are expected to run concurrently, which means that she's going to be serving 4.5 years in prison and also pay a 4,000 penalty unit, which would amount to some 48,000 Ghana cedis. Now, the judge also ordered that after she has completed her mandatory prison terms, she will be repatriated back to China. In a judgment again, the judge noted that due to the time Aisha Huang committed the offense, she was sentenced based on the old Minerals and Mining Act 2006 Act 703, which imposes a maximum of 4-year jail term for engaging in illegal mining. This old law was replaced in 2019 by the Minerals and Mining Act 2019 Act 995. Now, as part of the judgment, the judge noted, especially on count 1 and 2, that Aisha Huang, as part of her operations, forcefully grabbed land from landowners and farmers. In fact, her modus operandi was that she approached farmers, tell them that she wants their land for illegal mining, and before the farmers get back to her for a response, she goes ahead to clear the land of all vegetation. After the judge finished reading her judgment before sentencing, counsel for the witness, Aisha Huang, actually rose to his feet to plead with the judge, in fact, pray with her to consider the fact that if Aisha Huang is in prison, she is going to be a financial burden on the country, as the prison authorities would have to be taking care of her. His second prayer was that she has already spent about a year and a month in prison already, and so the judge ought to take that also into consideration. But one of the state attorneys also rose to her feet and argue out the fact that the activities of Aisha Huang actually took away the livelihood of a lot of communities. She has polluted a lot of drinking water in many communities, has taken over the farms of many others, taken away their livelihood. And so, in her view, there should be offences that should warrant a maximum punishment under the laws that the judge ought to issue her punishment. And so, after all of the pleas from both sides, the judge went ahead to announce her punishment, giving her a total of 4.5 years in prison and to pay some 48,000 Ghana cedis as penalty.
For Joy News, my name is James Savaji.
And of course, back in the studio here, we're also providing you some updates as the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tia Yeboah, has been providing some level of updates on what next for Aisha Huang after serving the jail term. Well, he says that government plans to repatriate the Chinese national after serving her sentence.
Yes, we are satisfied. You know, this offense was committed before 2019. That was between 2015 and 2017. And the law then was that the maximum sentence should be 5 years. So having been in custody for over 12 months, based on our constitutional provision on which imposes a duty on the judge to consider the number of years that person has spent in custody, we think that 4 years, 6 months is reasonable in the circumstance.
I mean, there was this point the judge took time to explain why she could not apply the new legal regime, the 15 to 25 years that many are aware of. Are you not worried the kind of signal that position sends to those who are perhaps have engaged in illegal mining before this new regime came into force?
That's the position of the law. If you look at our constitution, Article 19.6 is to the effect that if you arrest someone and you charge him for committing an offense some time ago, if you are able to prosecute him successfully and he's to be sentenced, the sentence then should be the sentence that you can use. You cannot use the new regime. And so far the sentence then was to the fact that the maximum of 5 years, we think that's the right position of the law. We can also not amend our constitution at this stage, but that's the law even worldwide. At the time they commit the offense, the punishment there is what you are supposed to be given when you are convicted for that offense. We are aware of it. That's why we came to court, and we knew that the maximum that we could get would be 5 years.
I mean, what does this mean for the fight against illegal mining? And this is an individual who was tagged as being a very influential person in the fight against the menace.
Yes, Aisha Huang, as we all know, she's someone that has gotten her name in the media a lot. Today, she's come to the end of the road. We're able to successfully prosecute her. She's going to spend 4 years, 6 months in custody. It should be a lesson to the others that you may be engaging in illegal mining, but when your time comes, the law will deal with you in accordance with what we've had. So it's a fight that we have not won. It's a fight that is a continuous one. As I just said, we all need to take part in the fight. Aisha is going today. The next time we come to court, if others have committed similar offenses, they also have their day in court. But let me also make this appeal to the public. This fight is not a fight of the Attorney General. This fight is not a fight of the police service. It is our fight. If you have any evidence to the effect that an individual, group of individuals, or an entity is engaged in illegal mining, don't sit in your house. Offer that evidence to the security agency so that we can follow up and then prosecute them as we've done in this particular case.
I mean, would the state be able to ensure that she's deported? We know she has had issues going out and coming back into the country.
After her sentence, if she will be able to serve her sentence, she will be deported in accordance with law.
And of course, there's more on the story shortly for you. Plus, as we prepare for that national dialogue on illegal mining, we'll tell you who is appearing today at the Labadi Beach Hotel as Joy News holds a national dialogue on illegal mining.
And that's how the Wenisha come for Noche Teaching Hospital. The Unhununi Yakrakrani Bia, and so the drew the agensem. And what can he say? BCC Ayasabi, man have fun into my pay frebio. Man, I say, baby, Essentially Pacocogia. Yura, a Santini, or 2 4 or 6 to 2 Abebu. And the Yana Kuma Swadi. See a BCCG, I'm an Achen Canin Impo.
And then it's a year was here to just say, so. And now, Uma Missy Babu Magic, Uma Wonders is magic, and China, Massa Magic. So, we had the boom, yes, I better. So, as I spent there to say, it's Mammy and Yam, Gagaban was sit down with you. So,
and Benny for the Weniboa, saying you who know. Ayarasabia, a se, a fata, need dimu ankasa. Then so young cotier drumra, and 1 year high, a bay here or more, and son in his swadim way up them. Ika krafama, Ika krafaboa, Niya, a yama yingina. Boa, now Otum for Hill Cath project, and we a pay. Obe to me of us, our queen will be asked, a diaboa.
Every day, people have money emergencies.
I need my school fees.
Emergency.
Mommy, chop
money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see S-I-N-T-E-X. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
And you're welcome back. Let's now talk about what's likely to happen later today as Joy News will be holding a national dialogue on illegal mining. This is coming in the wake of this latest news that we have heard of the jailing of Aisha Huang. But first, though, it's on the back of our latest hotline documentary, Poison for Gold, and here are excerpts.
This is the Dabwase intake point, where the Ghana Water Company Limited pumps and treats the pra for distribution to Takoradi and parts of the central region.
I'm fetching a sample from what is being pumped from the Pra River.
Samples fetched from the Pra at the Dabuase headworks of the Ghana Water Company tested positive for 0.288 milligrams per liter of arsenic, 0.186 of chromium, and 0.57 milligrams per liter of lead, all above the safety levels for these poisonous metals. But can the Ghana Water Company's treatment process eliminate the presence of poisonous heavy metals? We took a trip to the Materials Engineering Department of the College of Engineering and UST to speak with Engineer Dr. Benetta Kumsen. She has been researching into heavy metal removal from water using nanotechnology, mineral waste reprocessing, minerals processing, and waste management.
Some suspended solids have the ability to remove heavy metals. A typical example is the iron oxide or iron oxide based materials. So for instance, if you have magnetite, maghematite, which is more like an oxidized form of a magnetite, it has the ability to remove these. So once these are the kind of suspended solids we have in the system, they would interact with the heavy metals in there and would certainly have some or undertake or undergo some sort of adsorption in the system. So when they remove the heavy metal, these suspended solids, which are iron oxides, then you are sure that some levels of heavy metals would have been removed. But typically, removing those ones doesn't clean water of heavy metals present. Currently, what Ghana Water is doing doesn't take care of that. It takes care of bacteria, microbial stuff in the water. But with respect to heavy metals, I can give you samples of water which contain heavy metals. They may be as clear as you can imagine, but then they would have levels, high levels of heavy metals in them.
The Pra is polluted mainly by miners opening their residue into the river at Chifu Kotoche, Chifu Praso, and Shamfans sitting on the river. But District Chief Executive for Wasa East, Emmanuel Boache, told our team there are no resources to fight them.
We try as much as possible to get outboard motor attached to the canoe so that we can track those guys. But what we realized was that there are a lot of stones in the river. So you cannot run through the river to that place. I think some time ago, two military men died on this very river, Rapra, because of this mining in the river issue. So that has become a challenge to us. And that's the whole reason why we are unable to take them away from the river.
The negative impact of irresponsible mining on the treatment of potable water for the people was also seen at Ghana Water Company Limited's intake point at Odaso, a small community close to the Apamprama Forest Reserve in the Ashanti region. The polluted Oda River is pumped and treated for the people of Obuasi and its environs. It is mainly polluted by illegal mining within the forest and Shamfan operators who sit on it at various points. Samples fetched from here tested positive for arsenic, lead, and chromium. The river Ankobra is the most polluted according to the 2023 turbidity values released by the Ghana Water Resources Commission. It measured 8,500 NTU at the Pristia source point, more polluted than normal drinking water. Close to the Pristia Himan Bridge, the major water source is defiled. Scores of Shamfan machines poisoning it from different angles. On the Axim flow path, direct mining on the Ankobra is glaring. from Ishium, Banso, Domanase, Iziem, and Wulenzo, alluvial mining is done on the Ankobra, poisoning the river up to the estuary at Sangoma, where it feeds the sea with its contaminants.
The pollution of the river Ankobra is no small thing. It's an existential threat. It's a national emergency, and it should be taken serious by all stakeholders. Until government does something urgent and do something more seriously to contain the level of pollution, we are in for the long haul. Its effects, very devastating.
Assembly member for the Sangoma electoral area, Mr. Moke, traveled with our team by boat.
What I've seen or what I've witnessed now tells me that we need to be, very serious on what is going on, because it's very bad. I was not expecting it in this way. You can see that at some place, even the boat can only pass only one side. All those places have been seized up because of the washing of the area of the galamsey. So imagine if there are some fish and so on over there, they are going to die. So in fact, I'm very worried about what I've seen today.
At Sangoma or Ankobra town, the Ankobra joins the sea, polluting it with the venom of irresponsible mining. Samples fetched from the Ankobra close to the estuary this year tested positive for high levels of some poisonous heavy metals. Arsenic 0.221 milligrams per liter, lead 0.119 milligrams per liter, and chromium 0.293. The accepted WHO and Ghana standard levels are between 0.010 and 0.050 milligrams per liter. Fishermen at the estuary show us fishes they used to catch at the estuary. These days, they say, they've moved farther away to sea.
This is small. We have some type of fish. Their name, one is captain. Normally people call it captain fish. Some of the captain fish can be even bigger than me. Look at my size and look at my brother's size.
But why are you not catching that size anymore?
We are not catching them because of the galamsey. So the river water is being polluted by the chemicals that they are using at the top there. You know what? The big fish normally come down from the deep sea with the aim of drinking some of the river water. But here is the case that the river water is now combined with the chemicals, the one that they are using for the galamsey. You see, as a woman being, when wrong chemical enter your mouth, you don't feel happy. The same thing applies to the fish, because they also breathe in and breathe out. When something wrong enter into them, they feel it. So when they come and they see that whatever they have tasted in the river water doesn't sweet well to them, they have to go back, and they will go deep, so they will not come down.
The Pra River flows like a plague, polluting the sea with the venom of illegal mining.
I am sitting in the middle of two great water bodies. To my left is the sea, and to my right is the river Ankobra. Behind me is the estuary. This is where the two meet. Even close to the sea, you can see the color of the sea from this point right up there, as far as the drone can see, turning yellow in the color of the Ankobra. Until we see a high tide, which they say is 2 hours away, which will wash the sea green water over the Ankobra, the situation is a highly polluted Ankobra, which is now polluting the sea.
From the Anglo Beach to Shama in the western region, the pollution can be seen miles running into the sea. The suspended particles, poisonous heavy metals from irresponsible mining on the Pra feeds into marine life at the Anglo Beach. The farther the pollution goes, it drives marine life away from the poison and the pollution. This phenomena has put many of the people at Anglo Beach out of jobs. Samuel Aivi and his colleagues say their small fishing boats can no longer reach the fishes where pollution has driven them to.
Because of the pollution from the pra, the fishes have moved farther up into the sea. So unless you have a big boat, you cannot get the fish from the sea. Our boats can't sail that far. We don't have mechanized boats. We use canoes and we have to paddle. To get fish, we will need outboard motors and fuel, which comes with cost.
Their source of livelihood is gone. So is the pra, which used to be their source of drinking water.
We used to drink the pra. Previously, you could swim in it, but now you can't even swim in it.
The old wells they dug came out salty and useless. They now purchase sachet water from the city. Tests conducted on water samples from the pra and Ankobra in 2022 by the Environmental Chemistry Division of the Water Research Institute, CSIR, found disturbing levels of mercury, lead, arsenic, and cyanide. Our samples from the two rivers in 2023 tested positive for high levels of arsenic, chromium, and lead. On our rounds, one common method of water pollution stood out. The use of champagne machines. They are improvised motors mounted on a raft. They are used to draw sediments from riverbeds and through an alluvial process wash directly into the water sources to get gold. These alluvial miners from the Volta region have pitched camp on the Offin.
My name na them no read, that's my nickname. My real name is Righteous or Uche Akachuku. So I don't completed school 2020 for Volta region Soga Copper.
They justify their illegality.
We damage, we spoil the land. We spoil the land and the water. This work is no work for us to do, but I complete the SS. My certificate, everything is better. I go SS, but because of my family, they don't have money to take care of me in the school. I'll be back to do this work to get some small money to go back to continuing my school.
Though they understand the negative effects of the activity on the river, they limit it to survival.
This is not how the image of the water is. So some people, they used to drink the water. But as we are working in the water sport, so they cannot. We feel sad, but sort of no work for Ghana here. We don't get any work. So now they make us switch with the horses. Say when we do have them, we get more. Even our president cry say they should not do the work, but because of there is no work inside the Ghana, that's why we too are entering it small. So sometimes we beg say they for look for job. If right now if you get another job, I will leave this one, then you go and do that job.
On the Tano River, those who pollute it see nothing wrong with the practice. Some of them ignorantly drink from the polluted water source. They believe polluting and drinking from the same polluted source will give them the blessings of the river to get gold.
It doesn't cost anything to me to yet. Let me say something like that.
Yet, meaning you think it will do something to you later?
I don't know. Even the normal one we drink at home too, or sometimes it affects us, we run. But this one, we don't have any experience about it, just like that.
How long have you been drinking this?
Since we started working. That was 2008 to 2009. Sometimes we
ourselves, when we come here, we find it difficult to get water to drink because this water has been contaminated. But I drink it like that.
We know the water is not safe for drinking, but we don't have any alternative in the bush. So that is what we use.
Tests conducted on the polluted tunnel from where they drank showed positive results for high levels of lead, arsenic, and chromium. The contamination goes into soil sediments, while smelting of mercury gold amalgams fill the air with poisonous vaporized mercury. Residents of Atrebuanda in the Wasa East district of the Western region live and work by the Pra River. But this major natural resource is now a white elephant. It kills their crops when they use it for farming. They cannot drink it and cannot use it for daily chores. Few, like this woman, who can afford a chunk of aluminium sulfate, locally called alum, use it to separate the suspended particles and use the water to wash utensils. But she understands the dangers involved in using the cleared water for cooking or other uses.
This was our main source of water. We are very worried that we now have to buy alum to clear it before we use it for other purposes. We live by this major water source, but we can't use it for anything. It's sad.
Some, like this visually impaired basket weaver, still make traps for catching sessile or lobsters from the polluted river. They have no idea of the health effects of eating any catch from the polluted source.
There used to be fishes in the river, but they died with the galamsey pollution. We used to get catfish and other fishes, but they are all gone. But now we get lobsters from the river. We consume some and we sell the rest.
If an audit was done today, we should be able to account for each forest entry permit which has been issued.
The Minister for Lands, Samuel Abdullahi Jinapo, admits the country faces adverse effects of mining across the country. He speaks of government's plan to reduce the effect of mining across the country.
Fundamentally, I can confidently say that the measures we put in place, by and large, is sanitize the issue of forest entry permits and activities happening in our forest reserves, which is reasonably cordon off our forest reserves, cordon off the forest reserves of our country. There's a lot more to be done, which we intend to do. We are getting on with it. The leadership of the Forestry Commission are making all this strenuous efforts to keep cordoning off the forest reserves of our country. But I want to conclude my answer to the question you've asked by saying that we also have a role to play. We also have a role to play. I mean, law enforcement agencies at the very local level do have a role to play. Traditional authorities have a role to play. Political leadership, actors, both executive political leaders, DCEs, elected political leaders, assembly people, various leadership of political parties, NDC, all of us, we have a role to play. To be able to deal with this matter, I consider as a national matter and not a partisan sectorial issue.
But in some communities, resistance is building. Atronsu is a small farming community in the Bibiani Anyaso Bekwai municipality. It is home to this beautiful forest, a serene water source, the Atronsu stream.
And of course, in a few minutes from now, Joy News will be holding that national dialogue on illegal mining at the Labadi Beach Hotel. We'll bring you live footages as and when the event starts. But we can now cross over to Parliament. The Education Minister has been appearing before the House on matters relating to the reopening of schools. There you see him on the floor answering some questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Speaker. Honourable members, you've heard the Minister. I'm sure we'll take how many from each side, not necessarily those who want to contribute. We'll go by that. All right, Deputy Ranking.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And let me thank the Minister for attending upon the House to speak to what has clearly engaged the attention of our nation. Mr. Speaker, the Minister quite clearly has tried to justify why first-year students should be reporting today to commence registration processes towards the resumption of academic work. Mr. Speaker, as representatives of the people, this matter became a matter of concern and was brought before the House because of the complaints and the concerns that we have received as representatives of the people. Mr. Speaker, the Minister raises the issue of engagement, and that clearly piques my appetite. Because if that were to be the case, then I fail to understand why teacher unions, including NAGRAT, and the umbrella body for parent teachers associations in the country would all complain about the dates communicated for first-year students to report. This week, the Minister speaks about publicizing the calendar on the 23rd of November 2023. Yes, it is the case that this may have been done. But, Speaker, you would agree with me that it is one thing to anticipate that your ward will do well and be placed in his or her school of choice. And it is another thing to actually get to know that your ward has been placed, and therefore you need to mobilize the needed resources to prepare your ward to report in school. In another way, I am making allusions to financial challenges, even within the context of the quote-unquote harmonized prospectus. Just because many parents are really hard up. The conditions of our nation today in terms of resources and the resource availability is a challenge even for government. We all know parents have gone through haircuts of all manners. There are those parents whose resources have been locked up in banks that have been collapsed. There are those who are dealing with microfinance companies whose resources are locked up. And according to international bodies, in excess of 800,000 Ghanaians who hitherto had the wherewithal to fend for themselves have all now fallen below the poverty line. So when the Minister speaks about shortening the process, introducing a harmonized prospectus, well and good. But what quantum of money does a parent need to be able to buy all the items on the harmonized prospectus? Just because even the cost of a chobox, I'm not even talking about a trunk, is more than 200 Ghana cedis. And we are not even going to go through the list and talk about every single item. By my own rough estimates, at the very minimum, a parent will not require less than 3,000 Ghana cedis. Minimum, I said minimum, Mr. Speaker, minimum threshold would not require less than 3,000 Ghana cedis to prepare a ward to go to school. As we speak, almost all of us have received calls, messages. Yes, Honorable Kovandapoy, he has been crying the whole day about how parents have lined up in his office, asking for money to prepare their ward for school. So the issue of parents' inability to mobilize the requisite financial resources to prepare their wards to go to school, Mr. Speaker, cannot be swept under the carpet. Mr. Speaker, then we have the issue of even the timelines. I understand that we want to go back to pre-COVID academic timetable and times. But should that be done to the detriment of students, teachers, and parents? Even the teachers are complaining. They have complained publicly that many of them have not had a break since the inception of the double track system, and that they would have thought that this period to where you suggested we look at reopening the schools, which will be the first week in January, would have allowed them to catch a break, to reinvigorate, so that they can better serve our students. So if the teachers have also complained publicly, then when and where did the consultation take place? Because if it did, they should not be complaining. And the dates, they will go to school on the 4th today, they will break, according to the minister, 21st, come home, and then go back. Because we can just imagine a student going from Accra to your alma mater, Damascus, and then having to come back, and then having to go again. The issue of time, resources, and even a higher risk of limb and lives. The more frequently you travel, the higher the propensity. It is. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe very strongly that the case that we made, asking the minister to reconsider the reopening date to address these matters, is a reasonable case, and many Ghanaians are looking up to us. Thank you for indulging me, Mr. Speaker.
Ranking member.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as alluded to by the Minister for Education, I raised the issue last Thursday, and based on that, the House debated or discussed it, and then we came to the conclusion that the Minister would have to come to the House and explain to us the rationale behind the fixing of that date. Mr. Speaker, the statement was not made out of malice against anybody. It was made based on people's sentiments, concerns raised by people, teachers, parents, and all those who are affected by the placement exercise. Yeah, the minister tried to explain that we needed to go back to pre-COVID period. I agree with him. But given the circumstances now, we need to look at it carefully. The GAS did very well with that of the basic school, that they have gone back to the pre-COVID period. But the approach of the secondary school system is not the best. Now, all other countries, especially in West Africa, have gone back to the pre-COVID period. But why is Ghana not able to make its secondary schools go back to the pre-COVID period? That is what the minister needs to explain to us. What challenges are there that you are not able to migrate or go back to the pre-COVID period with secondary schools? We need to know that. Okay, fine. Mr. Speaker, he also mentioned that they have placed about at least 81% of qualified candidates. At the time the placement came out, we were told that we had about 108,000 yet to be placed. He has not given us the number that has been placed so far and what number is left to be placed. That is very, very necessary for us to know as a house, so that we know that from that time, this is the number that is left to be placed. Mr. Speaker, I also wish that the minister could have told us, or the House, why he did not even get in touch with the leadership of the House or the Speaker before the GS or his ministry came out with the directive, after the Speaker had directed that he should probably reconsider the reopening date. But what we saw in the press or in the air, heard in the air, was as if he did not want to listen to the House or the Speaker. I think he needs to explain that position to us or to the Speaker so that we will take it from there. But I think the appeal still stands that the ministry and the GS should reconsider the reopening date. This is because not everybody has been placed as at now, and that is very, very important. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Ablakwa.
I'm most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, this matter is a very important issue of tremendous national concern. It is a public interest matter, and it is about the education of our young compatriots. It is not a matter that we can toy with or we can take lightly. Right Honourable Speaker, the first issue I thought the Honourable Minister of Education will address in his presentation to the House today is why the Ministry of Education flagrantly, blatantly defied this House. We had an extensive discussion. There was a statement duly admitted by the Speaker, and the Right Honourable Speaker issued a directive on this matter. There was a press statement to that effect, because all efforts, I was in the chamber that day, all efforts to reach the minister failed. I was here. I see people who were not here last week Thursday screaming and trying to intimidate me, but I refuse to be intimidated. I was here, and I know what transpired. For the first time, this House, I have been here 3 times. I do remember when this House worked with the Speaker to draft a press statement for the consideration of our PR unit. That is how important this House considered this matter. So I was expecting that even if the Honourable Minister disagrees, out of respect for this House, which he is a member of, I don't believe that the Honourable Minister of Education would disrespect a House that he is a member of. But that's what he has done. Knowing that he has been summoned to appear before us today, what stopped him from waiting instead of asking his PR unit to issue that counter statement, which put Parliament on a collusion course with his ministry? I thought that show of power, that flexing of muscles. The Honourable Minister is my very good friend, and he knows that one of my qualities is that I tell my friends the truth, and I tell them in their face. I was in the constituency throughout the break, and the number of parents who came to my house who were calling me that we listened to you people in the House, we got a sense of what you, our representatives, have said.
live pictures from Parliament there on SHS reopening, but it's time for us to cut through on that and also tell you about the national dialogue happening on illegal mining organised by Joy News. We'll be taking you there shortly, but we're taking a break when we return.
Partnership with Joy FM, Roverman Productions presents For Girls, The Spell, an original Ebo White play.
Before we go, sister, there is something the Lord has put upon my heart for you. I think the Lord is leading me to you.
Oh, you know, you are like the clouds to me.
Really?
Yes, brother. When you disappear, it's always a beautiful day for me. If the Lord could lead you, why didn't he lead you to a shop where they sell deodorant?
Ah, sister, pray about it. I am sure the Lord will.
You know what? Right now, I need something only you can give me.
What is that, sister?
Your departure.
Venue, Burma Hall at Burma Camp. Dates, December 2nd, 3rd, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Time, first show on Friday at 7 p.m. 2 shows on Saturday at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. 3 shows on Sunday at 1 p.m., 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. Rates, 150 Ghana cedis. For tickets, dial *365 *535 hash. WhatsApp 050-554-6010 or visit all usual outlets. Sponsors, Gino and GCB Bank.
Your day is never dull when you tune into Joy Prime. Wake up to Prime Morning on weekdays as Roselyn, KMJ, and Asiedua kickstart your day with breakfast of issues.
Genta explains Sarkodie came promise at the Grammy absence.
Stay informed with our news updates, sports coverage, all interlaced with captivating novella series. Sandwiching the thrilling telenovelas is our comprehensive news at 7. Unwind with Sports Zone, Mondays at 9 p.m. BMPS Show, Friday at 9 p.m. and groove to the turn-up general selections at 10 p.m. on weekdays. The weekend is packed with loads of excitement from kids programs to captivating talk shows. Stay tuned for action-packed movies from Monday to Sunday and many other exciting shows only on Joy Prime. Joy Prime, your ultimate experience.
We understand the concerns everyone has about the flag bearer of our political party. I want to assure you that he's not missing.
The report of his disappearance is false?
So basically,
your flag bearer is gone totally.
This may become the next flag bearer.
Isn't it obvious? Our party is in need of a great leader. I have no other option than to step up. I want you to be my running mate.
I would like to announce
that I intend to contest for the flag bearer.
My name is Osi. I don't fear elections. I will win hands down. I am a tiger.
My people have a saying that a live dog is far better than a dead tiger.
So I wanted him to invest in our campaign. I didn't know that he would betray me.
Now you have to win $250,000.
Hey, that's how much we know.
Why do you have to shout the youth in delay like that?
Sorry, that's how much you owe.
Get involved and vote in the district level elections to choose assembly members and unit committee members.
The Electoral Commission of Ghana is calling on all Ghanaians to vote in the upcoming district-level elections on Tuesday, 19 December 2023 from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. to elect new members to the various district assemblies and unit committees in the electoral areas in all polling stations around the country. The ballot paper for the district assembly elections will bear the names of your electoral area and candidates with their photographs. As a voter, you have to select only one candidate. You then go for the ballot paper for the unit committee elections, which also bears the names of the units and candidates with their photographs. And voters are to select only 5 candidates. Participate actively in selecting your local representative to the various metropolitan, municipal, and district assemblies. Remember, District Assembly and Unit Committee members are your agents for development, so go to your polling stations and vote on Tuesday, 19 December 2023.
Get involved. Your vote is your future.
And in a few minutes from now, we'll be crossing over to the Labadi Beach Hotel. But the Education Minister is expected to provide some answers to the concerns being raised by MPs on school reopening. We'll just take you back to Parliament to get, a bit of the live feed. Samuel Okujeto Black on the floor there. Right after this, we'll take you to the Labadi Beach Hotel.
Right, but really, it's costing some people about 7,000, 8,000 cedis to put all of these things together, depending on which school you are attending, plus transportation, the cost of transportation. If you are moving from North Town, for example, to Wa Senior High, or even to Presec, the one and only Presec Lagos, or to Adisadel, look at the distance, look at the cost of transportation. Teenagers going to these places they've never been to. And then, Mr. Speaker, the other issue which I raised last week relates to those of us in the flood-affected constituencies. We have not been told what the arrangements are. An Honourable Minister knows. I've been on his case. I've called several times. Mepes and Kizito Senior High Technical School, where displaced persons are. What happens to them? What happens to them? Are we going to watch that secondary school collapse? That is our flagship secondary school. It has done well to take care of displaced persons, 1,500 displaced persons. Is this how to reward them? Is this how to pay them back by collapsing the school? So the engagement. Yesterday I met with the MEPE chiefs, and they are nobody knows what's happening. The headmaster was there, the district director of education. I called the minister. I called him. Yes, I called him. I've said that already. I've been calling the minister on this matter, but nothing is conclusive. So for those of us in the flood-affected constituencies, our schools run the risk of collapsing. So there are serious issues that if the Honourable Minister had listened to the wisdom of Mr. Speaker, the teacher unions, and these representatives to shift the reopening to January, then we can give ourselves time to resolve all of these matters. How do we relocate displaced persons in schools like Mepes and Kizito? And how do we quickly then, fumigate, decontaminate, and prepare those schools? A lot of them have lost their furniture. They've lost a lot of items in the school because of what is happening there. Then you replace them. The minister has not presented us with any program for schools like that. So, Mr. Speaker, there's a lot of work that has to be done. As for this return to the pre-COVID era, I don't know why the sudden rush. You have not been in any hurry at all to return to the pre-COVID calendar. Even in terms of the final exams, we are no longer writing WASI with our colleagues in Gambia, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and the rest. Now it's GASI, and you are not in a hurry to move from GASI to WASI. So how come suddenly, overnight? And this is not, it's not this, Mr. Speaker, we all know first week, when we report in school, orientation, people trying to settle in, there will be no studies going on. So people are just going to school for just a few days, really, less than a week. And then they have to return for the Yuletide break, 21st December. So really, what do we achieve? Really, what do we achieve? So it's not practicable. So the Honourable Minister of Education cannot be the only one who is right, who has all the wisdom, and everybody else, all the unions, the Speaker, MPs, everybody doesn't understand education. Only the minister is right. I cannot fathom what is going on. So, Mr. Speaker, the Honourable Minister must come again. If not, some of us may be compelled to see our friend slug it out at the Privileges Committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable, is that Chairman for Constitutional Legal?
Speaker.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity given me. May I use this opportunity to thank the Minister very much for heeding to the call of the Honourable Speaker. In the morning, I remember the Honourable Speaker said that he should be here before 12:30. And I think he was here at 11:40. Mr. Speaker, the Minister had taken us through the questions that we had asked. Why was the school opened suddenly? This is a minister that oversees a lot of agencies, including that of the Ghana Education Service. This House had passed an act, and this regulates the Ghana Education Service. They have been given powers to do a lot of things for us as a country, including running the education service in this country. Mr. Speaker, when we had COVID, Ghana Education Service regulated the schools. Nobody complained. The academic calendar changed. Ghana Education Service, we have given them the powers, and they have committees and bodies that had gone through the system. I am taken aback, especially when members of this House who have lived at the ministry and knows the relationship between the Ghana Education Service and the ministry are still complaining. The minister explained that there is a harmonized prospectus. I do not know, Mr. Speaker, if we extend the time, parents are not going to buy the things anyway. The students have written exams for more than 3 months and had been at home. If you are a parent, you know that your ward would have to go to school. And most of the time, in this House, we have complained that children had stayed at home and some are pregnant, especially when we had the COVID era. When they had finished the exams and they had released the results, why do we keep them at home? People are complaining that the distance, if they have to go to, somebody said that if you have to go to Damascus. Is it the case that if we go for 3 months notice or 1 year notice, the distance, the person or the student will not travel that distance? I do not understand the reasoning that we are giving for the action of the Ghana Education Service. At any rate, Mr. Speaker, the Ghana Education Service have given the directive, and the students are in school already. The minister had given us the statistics of the number of students that had been placed. Unfortunately, we probably do not have the number of students that have reported at the various schools. If we have them, that about 10% or 20% had reported, then we may have a cause to complain. But not when the students are already in school. Do we want the minister to direct the Ghana Education Service to now call the students that they should come back home and then we give another time for them? Mr. Speaker, this will lead to absurdity. I don't think we need to disturb the academic calendar, especially when the minister has said that we would want to go to the pre-COVID session. This is a session that was running. Nobody complained about this session. We were all comfortable. Then we were hit by COVID. And then most of the things changed. And the ministry, and for that matter, the Ghana Education Service would want to correct this. And we have a problem with this. I do not have a problem with this. And I think that we need to commend the ministry for that. If we have said that a directive had been given to the ministry and they had not obliged there, I am not sure whether we had given a directive. But we should be careful as a house, because if we say that this house is going to direct the Ghana Education Service and for that matter, Ministry of Education, we are also going to direct Ministry of Health. We are also going to direct Ministry of Education and all other agencies that we work with. It is for no reason, it is for a reason that we are giving them the mandate and the power and the law to work with. If they have not contravened any law, Mr. Speaker, I think we need to encourage them for what they do in order that we could all benefit from that. What I think every parent should do, things are hard. Every parent should do is that when your child had written as an examination and had passed and had been placed, The next level is that the child must go to school. Whether the child stays at home for a week or for a month or 2 weeks, the child would have to go to school. If they don't go now, we'll complain that the children are staying home doing nothing. And therefore, let us encourage the Ghana Education Service and, for that matter, the ministry. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much, and I thank the Ministry of Education as well.
Yes, MP for Bole.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful.
What are you doing?
Mr. Speaker, in the morning,
you want to run the house for me? From the very beginning, please, wait. From the very beginning, I asked leadership, how many from each side of the house? Please, 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 please. I didn't hear any response. Then, he just said it. I'm talking from the very beginning, when we started the debate. Then I asked, or should I allow anybody who wants to talk? What I saw was body movement from you. That I saw. From the majority leader, I saw his body movement. I turned to the majority, body movement. Then we started. A number stood from this side. I listened to one. I turned to your side. Nobody stood. Then I turned this way, and a number of them were on their feet again. I listened to the other one. I turned to your side. Nobody stood up. Then the third person is when I turned, my attention was drawn to two in front of me. And I allowed one. How can that be the practice that we do 4-4? How? Please. How can that be the practice? Because the practice when we say 4 on each side of the house, when one speaks from this side, another one will speak from the other side, then I turn. That is how we do it. Please. Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker,
yes.
When you asked about the number, we were confirming, the two of us, and we said 4-4. Maybe, admittedly, we did not speak to the microphone. And because you were looking at us, in fact, I signaled. If he signaled first, and I said, okay, 4-4, plus him. Because you were looking at us, I thought that you had gotten what we were saying. Because the two of us, we spoke to ourselves that it should be 4-4. The Speaker, after the first 1 year from the other side, nobody was up here. It was Ayimedu who was moving and came here. At the time you had called the second person. Ayimedu got up after the second person. And he said maybe because we were not recognizing where he was sitting, was moving back to his place. That's why he moved there. So that is the reality. But Ato is here. You confirm what I've just said.
Mr. Speaker, indeed, between us, we agreed 4-4 plus leadership. Mr. Speaker, the truth is that we did not communicate to you. In fact, but between us, we agreed 4-4. However, Mr. Speaker, it should be noted that when you called the first person here, nobody stood up from this side. And it happened the second time. It was after Honorable Okudetu Ablakwa spoke that somebody stood up from this side. Mr. Speaker, since then I saw two people. That is what it is. Because I was watching everything. So, Mr. Speaker, it's Honorable Ayimedu and Honorable Carlos that stood up from the other side after Honorable Okudetu Ablakwa spoke. Mr. Speaker, in spite of that, I think we can make progress by allowing the speakers to make their statements, and then the leaders can also conclude. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, I'm very grateful. Mr. Speaker, in the morning when this issue was raised, I had the opportunity to speak, and I said that I was speaking as a parent
and also as a member of this august House. Mr. Speaker, it should be noted that this House, we have an oversight responsibility. We represent the good people of this country. And when there are issues that are reported to us, it is our responsibility to discuss.
And we'll bring you updates subsequently. But it's time now to cross over to the Labadi Beach Hotel, where the national dialogue on illegal mining is underway. We can now take you there.
Ghana stands on the verge of an environmental and a health crisis. Our rivers, forests, and children are bearing the brand of an illegal gold mining crisis. Their future, our legacy, at stake. Join us for an urgent national dialogue and a call to action following the eye-opening Joy News Hotline documentary, Poisoned for Gold. Together we gather experts, policymakers, and leaders united to save our land, our water, and our children. Be part of the solution. Tune in to Joy News, Joy FM, or join us online on the 4th of December, 4 p.m. at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Your voice matters in this fight for our nation's heart and health. Don't let this moment pass. Your engagement can change the future. This event is in partnership with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and WaterAid.
Imagine a family without a home. Imagine a song without a voice. Imagine a church without prayers. Imagine a government without citizens. Imagine democracy without journalists. Without the media. Life is full of issues and stories about people, communities, and governments. Stories that have to be told by well-trained journalists. That's why you can't imagine news without Joy News.
morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are live from the Omanye Hall, Labadi Beach Hotel here in Accra. This is the Joy News National Dialogue on Illegal Mining. We are live on Joy News. We are live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We're on myjoyonline.com and all our social media platforms. We've got you covered. This evening's National Dialogue aims to explore radical solutions to a national crisis. Together with our partners, WaterAid and the Ghana National Chamber of Mines, I welcome you warmly to this groundbreaking thought leadership event, which has been conceived in response to the distressing ecological degradation caused by illegal mining, what we've come to know as galamsey. So from the Omanye Hall, mihanye Omanye, kuni Omanye ablao. At this point, it's a good time to say a quick prayer. And we are asking for the presence and wisdom of the Almighty, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit for a successful execution of this dialogue for the good of our country and Ghana and even our neighbors and friends as well. Amen, if you wish. Now, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, may I inform you that there will be a cinema experience at some point. But this cinema experience, there will be no need for popcorn. And I want to warn you also that after that, you may look at water twice before drinking. But all the same, it's a true story. It's not filmed. It's not an acting. It's a true story that highlights the harsh reality, which serves not only as an expose, but as a clarion call for urgent action and collective responsibility. At this point, I feel like saying Chobwe, but I'll hold on to that later. But it's a very intriguing 10-minute documentary, which is the result of weeks of fearless investigation led by none other. I'm proud to call him my colleague, is the PAV Answer Journalist of the Year, Erastus Asaredonko, and his dedicated team. It's a good time to give them a round of applause for this wonderful work that they've done. We call it Poison for Gold. If it was a movie, I'm sure I've done a lot of spoiler alert already. So I'll hold on at this point, and I know I've said enough. So let me now invite, with a warm round of applause, I see that you've done it, and I'm sure it will gain momentum as we go along the line. Let's welcome, with a round of applause, Acting General Manager, Joy Brands, Francis Fifi Kumsen, to give us the opening remarks.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, panelists, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for availing yourselves for this event today. It is deeply concerning, the devastation being visited on communities through illegal mining in Ghana. Our recent documentary that MFR Apawu just spoke about, Poisoned for Gold, has shed light on the environmental degradation, health hazards, and the social upheaval caused by galamsey. The images and stories that you'll be seeing present a very dark picture of what our reality really is. The damage inflicted on our water bodies, agricultural lands, and the overall ecosystem is alarming, posing a severe threat not only to the present, but also to the future generations of our beloved nation. It is important that we take immediate and decisive action to address the impact of illegal mining in Ghana. This national dialogue, organized by Joy News, has brought together key stakeholders, experts, and policymakers to engage in a constructive dialogue on finding sustainable solutions. We cannot afford to turn a blind eye to the environmental degradation and health crisis caused by illegal mining. Those who live along the Oti, Ofin, Pra, and Ankobra should be able to drink from the same rivers safely. Together, let us embark on a journey towards a future where the selfish pursuit of wealth does not come at the expense of our people's well-being. Once again, thank you and welcome.
Please, let's do it better. Joy Brands Acting General Manager, Francis Fifi Kumsing. With the welcome address done, I must remind you once again, if you're just joining us, we are live on the Joy News channel on Joy 99.7 FM. All our social media platforms. I don't know how many you know, but we are live on X Spaces. We are on Facebook with live updates on our WhatsApp channels, TikTok, Snapchat. I don't know which generation you are in, but every platform that they are, because I know they are new every day. But you can join us with the hashtag Joy News National Dialogue. It's a good time to get interactive. It's Joy News National Dialogue. It's just for you as well. So join us with the hashtag wherever you are. And this national dialogue is made possible because of great and fruitful partnerships. Let's give a huge round of applause to Water Aid and to Ghana National Chamber of Mines for partnering a worthy cause. Please, let's do it better for them. And at this point, let's welcome, whilst we are doing that, for the country director, Water Aid, Irabna Yani Akafo. Please do it better for her. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, esteemed partners, and fellow advocates for a sustainable future. I stand before you this evening as Water Aid Country Director, but also as a citizen who is very much deeply concerned about the future of our water resources and forest. Today we gather here to witness the unveiling of Poison for Gold, a documentary that exposes the harrowing consequences of illegal mining on our cherished land and water resources. These activities have ravaged our forest and polluted our water, the very lifeblood of our nation. And we owe our gratitude to Erastus Asaridonko and his team for their daring journalism, shining a light on this dark issue. Their work is not just a documentary, it is a wake-up call once again, urging each and every one of us to stand up against the destruction of our natural heritage. The crisis we face today demands more than words. It calls for immediate, decisive action and a sustainable policy reforms that will make lasting impact. Our past efforts in combating illegal mining through well-intentioned have been fleeting. We need a steadfast commitment to not just clear our waters temporarily, but to sustain this clarity for generations to come. While we combat illegal mining as a collective responsibility, the power to end this crisis rests largely with the government and our political leaders. As CSOs and as development partners, we play our part, but it takes solid political will to eradicate this issue permanently and secure the future of generations unborn. Ladies and gentlemen, discussing illegal mining is often a taboo, especially for development partners and for CSOs, due to its political nature. Organizations risk being labeled partisan for addressing the laxity in handling illegal mining. However, if speaking up means being tagged to effect change, we shouldn't hesitate. Future generations are counting on us, and history will judge our inaction. In line with our advocacy priorities, Water Aid Ghana has launched the Climate Change, Water and Me campaign. As climate change exacerbates the water crisis, our duty is to respond with resilience. The extreme weather conditions, characterized by high temperature and flooding, significantly influence water availability. This situation is further exacerbated by illegal mining activities, which not only intensify these issues, but also contribute to an accelerated rate of environmental destruction. The combined impact of these factors is proving to even be more detrimental than the effect of climate change alone. Illegal mining should concern everyone, regardless of where you live, because the effect extends far and wide. For example, water poisoning means Ghana Water Company incurs higher treatment costs, leading to increased tariffs for all of us. Similarly, the food that we eat, the fish that we buy, some of these are coming from areas where illegal mining is affecting. I can offer countless reasons why you and I should actively oppose to illegal mining in Ghana. What is happening in galamsey affected areas is an extreme act of violence against our water resources. It is a hydrocide. This is genocide against generations, and silence only aids our oppressors, illegal miners and their facilitators. It is time for us to take a joint action and not just words. In closing, today's event is more than a screening. It is a call to actively shape our nation's future and water resources. Let's watch, listen, and above all, let's act. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll now welcome remarks from the Ghana Chamber of Mines. We have the Chief Executive of the Chamber, Dr. Suleiman Akoni, for his remarks as well. Please give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of us. Distinguished guests, and I can see some distinguished personalities of the land here, former ministers of state recognized. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you compliments from the Ghana Chamber of Mines. The Ghana Chamber of Mines is excited to be a part of this event, which is to highlight the menace of illegal mining and to generate actionable solutions for implementation by duty bearers to protect and rehabilitate affected areas. A key objective of the Chamber is to provide thought leadership for the solution of mining-related issues in our dear country. Over the years, the Chamber of Mines has been actively involved in the quest to protect our natural resources, especially minerals, from illegal exploitation, as it leads to the wanton degradation of the environment. However, we concede at this moment that the fight against this canker needs the active support of all Ghanaians, since its negative impact affects the whole country and future generations. Ladies and gentlemen, to eradicate illegal mining in Ghana, the Ghana Chamber of Mines has taken some initiatives to minimize or eradicate the illicit activity completely. As a research-based advocacy group, we commissioned research sometime in 2010 into the mainstreaming of artisanal and small-scale mining into the sector to give us a better understanding of the inherent issues. This study made some far-reaching recommendations which were shared with governments for consideration. A key recommendation which I'm quite passionate about and which I believe is still relevant today has to do with the need for us to do some basic geological investigation before parceling out land for mining, whether it's large-scale mining or small-scale mining. In fact, in the case of large-scale mining, which we actually represent as an industry, it is a prerequisite to have exploration done through feasibility, a bankable feasibility, before you approach Minerals Commission and then our sector minister for a lease. I think it's important that we get to know to some level of certainty regarding what is under the belly of the earth before we parcel out. Otherwise, this wanton destruction of our environment will continue. If the grantees of mineral rights for any form of mining have no clue as to what is within the concession, what do you expect? When he digs, he mines, he processes, and he gets nothing. Do you expect this company or this individual to go to the bank and borrow money to rehabilitate? Certainly no. Therefore, for us, it's about mimicking what we have for large-scale mining. The whole idea of FDI, like I've always said, is to really appreciate and understand how we can learn from it and adapt that for our own good. Ladies and gentlemen, issues of environment and sustainability are of keen interest to the Chamber. We have taken steps to ensure that our members implement best practices in their operations. Environmental protection and social development are key factors in the responsible operations of our member companies, which are
paid actor portrayal.
I didn't see it coming. Life can be so unpredictable. After losing my dad, it made me think about my family if something were to happen to me. The mortgage, car payments, and all the other bills. Even things like our annual summer vacation would be out of reach. I had heard about life insurance through Ethos and how easy it was to get coverage. They were right. I knew it was time to stop putting it off and get life insurance right now. I got on my computer and went to ethoslife.com. In just 10 minutes, I was covered. And boom, family protected. Thanks to Ethos, my family won't have to worry about the bills if the unpredictable happens to me.
Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethoslife.com/audio. That's ethoslife.com/audio.
Mainly the large-scale mining firms in Ghana, as I have already intimated. To underscore the importance of this, we have since 2021 introduced the Best Green Mining Company category at the Ghana Mining Industry Awards, in addition to the overarching environmental performance category. It's our view that as the mining industry grows in this country, there is the need to adopt strategies and programs that seek to protect and sustain our environments whilst meeting the needs of stakeholders today and into the future. Ladies and gentlemen, our environment is under siege, no two ways about it. And I, based upon my years of experience, given what I know and what I see, and the experiences we've gathered over the years, next year is an election year. Next year is what? An election year. And it keeps some of us awake. Because we all know, around that time, duty bearers look the other way. And if even before then, this is what we have, you can imagine what we'll have when we go into an election year. So we need to mobilize all the resources we have. And for me, this conversation is timely. My expectation is that it will not be like one of those. And I like the fact that our target and our objective is actionable solutions. Actionable solutions, so that we can persuade duty bearers to help us find solutions to this canker. Let me assure everyone here that the Chamber will continue to advocate for sustainable mining practices, as well as support all national efforts to protect our rivers and farmlands, whilst at the same time creating jobs and other related value for the country. We believe that small-scale mining can and should be done legally with the right support and backed by proper exploration to delineate viable areas for mining. For us, that is the critical point. Our brothers and sisters who do small-scale mining need all the support. It is backed by law, even as we are looking at how to eradicate illegal mining. I think it's also important that we look at that sector and see the kind of support systems we can put in place. Because for us, illegal mining, yes, it is a menace, but it also provides an opportunity as a country to migrate them into the formal sector. So even as we are trying to find solutions for illegal mining, let's see how best we can mainstream proper small-scale mining, as happens in other jurisdictions, so that once they are mainstream, we know we are getting the very best for ourselves as a country and for our brothers and sisters who are involved in small-scale mining. I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Suleiman Akone, CEO of the Ghana Chamber of Mines. And also to you, Water Aid, we are really grateful and we look forward to stronger and long-lasting partnerships as well. As we go along the line, I will start acknowledging the presence of our dignitaries here present at the Omani Hall at the Labadi Beach Hotel. We are at a crucial moment of this dialogue as we speak, and it is my pleasure to hand over the microphone to a man whom we all know as a physician and a cardiothoracic surgeon. You can notice that I took my time with that. He's a cardiothoracic surgeon by profession and a passionate environmentalist at heart. He led the Ministry of Environment, Science and Technology at some point and was made chairman of the Interministerial Committee on Illegal Mining. He's no stranger to all of us. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome with a huge round of applause the one and only Professor Kwabena Frimpong Boateng with his presentation. Thank you, sir. So we'll be using this one. Yes, you'll move. Thank you. And please leave the microphone close a little bit. Thanks.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of parliament, dignitaries here present. My name is Kwabena Frimpong Boateng. These are my slides. A young lady, Shari Maxson in Australia, said that we live in a time when intelligent people are being silenced so that stupid people won't be offended. Next slide. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to do that. So, at some point, I chaired the Inter-Ministerial Committee for Illegal Mining, and I think my friend and big brother, is that Cameron? Cameron Dodu, well, welcome. We defined what illegal mining was. Mining in riverbeds, that is dredging, mining on the river banks, mining in forest reserves, land degradation, non-reclamation of land, foreigners involved in small-scale mining, and use of dangerous chemicals such as cyanide, and improper use of approved chemicals. This is how we define illegal mining, whether committed by small-scale or large-scale. So you know this, right? So I mean, you'll be seeing more of these things, so I will not talk much about it. No comment. Where should I point this thing? Here? Please, where should I point it to? Where? Anywhere. But these things, these are the dredging machines on the water bodies. But these are things that we may not see in the documentary. These are men from our task force cleaning the water bodies. So there were debris, tree trunks, everything in the rivers. We tried to clean it up. And so this is where we are. You know, as I said, it also should show us more of these things. I'll just rush through. And some of the bad things happening, you know, we undermine power lines and undermine the roads that we build as well. It's not only the forest, but our very important infrastructure is undermined and destroyed. And this is was presented by my Joy online. Joy, you did this in 2017. This is somebody on his cocoa farm, his own cocoa farm. He's called Kwesi Nyako, and he lives in Wasam Memphis district. And this is Kwesi and the children and the wife on the cocoa farm. They say they are not getting much from the cocoa farm, so they are doing their own mining on their farm. This thing has been going on for a very long time. These slides I borrowed from Professor Osman Ansasamoah, who passed away many years ago. This is from 2014. You know, alluvial mining in Apia and Kwanta and Daboase, Tufupraso and Dunkanofin, 2014. These pictures are from 2014. And this is degraded land at Kobiso and River Pra, Tufupraso, and the water was not flowing at all, 2014. And this is Brim River. This is from 2018. And you see, the Brim River has changed its course. The course has been diverted several times. So the Brim River, as you know it, is no longer a Brim River. I wanted to go through this quickly. And this is somebody, Chinese, who has settled in Wasa, Ekropon, enjoying his breakfast and doing his illegal mining. Yes. Now, this slide shows the river basins in Ghana. And you can see that most of the river basins are affected. The White Volta Basin, which also takes in the Red Volta. There's galamsey going on, not as much as here in the southwest. And then the Black Volta, Pra, and Cobra, and so on, all these rivers, apart from the main Volta Lake and the Afram rivers. But even the Volta Lake, one can say that there is some disturbances going on because of the the fact that the white water is the main source feeding the water lake. So if you look at the water basins in this country, most of them have been affected. So the rivers, you can't paddle any canoe on them. Speedboats are useless. And we heard that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources imported speedboats who are seen on the water bodies before. They cannot function on those water bodies because the water is not good for anything. Can't drink it. You can't wash with it. You can't cook with it. No bathing. Irrigation and watering of gardens, not possible. Watering of animals, impossible. Other creatures poisoned or dead. And animals are poisoned or dead. And tree crops are also polluted. So what is the use of our rivers? Ghana is the only country where you have rivers where they are no use. So we also have loss of biodiversity. There's physical danger, apart from the physical danger to humans and animals. Maybe you fall in pits and get drowned. We have polluted land farms, farmlands, loss of edibles such as mushrooms, snails, wild yams, plantain and bananas. Then loss of habitat of many animals and reptiles. Birds, especially birds that nest on high trees, like vultures and eagles, especially vultures. Now, how many of you have seen vultures in your area recently? When was the last time you saw a vulture? And you see, when you see the vultures dying, it's only a question of time that human beings also start dying. Because these are the scavengers. They pick up dead things so that we don't get sick. But now they've lost their habitat and their food sources, so they are dying. Even the snakes in the bush, there is a snake in South America called Botrus jararaca. That is a viper. When it bites you, you die from shock. Your blood pressure will drop and will die. Scientists worked on that venom, and through that, they were able to produce a medication against high blood pressure. That was the basis of lisinopril. As you know, some of you may be taking lisinopril. So even the reptiles in the bush are useful, if you only want to know how to make them useful. So, and then ground nesting birds that nest on the ground. I mean, they have no future. They are gone. Akokohiria and all those things. This is what we are doing to ourselves. So, but the immediate effect is that I've seen somebody who comes from Mansour Saman, who is here with me, who is here, I just saw him. If you go there, there's little or no farming activities because farming is not profitable. You don't do it. Farmland is sold to galamsey operators. Cocoa farms sell for between 30,000 and 50,000 cedis per acre, and they are selling them. Arable lands are already mined out. Scarcity of plantain, cassava, and cocoyam. Cultivation of vegetables not advisable, and I'll tell you why later on. Tomatoes, pepper, onion are all purchased in Kumasi. Maize is cheaper in Kumasi. This is happening now. So when we destroy our forests and our farmlands, what happens? These plants take in the carbon dioxide that we breathe out and give us oxygen that we breathe in. So they are more or less our lungs. So if we are destroying the forests and farmlands, we are destroying our lungs. And then our food, all our food, 90% will come from the forest or the farmlands. So we'll be destroying our supermarkets. And 25% of the drugs that we use in hospital now are from herbs. Apart from that, there are herbal preparations. So these plants are our pharmacies as well. So as we destroy the greens that we see, we'll be destroying our lungs, we'll be destroying our supermarkets and our pharmacies. Well, and there are toxic metals. I'll not go through them, but the important ones are mercury, lead, and cadmium. We all know the side effects of mercury inhalation and cadmium poisoning and so on. So I'll skip this one for the time being. So when you see hyperpigmentation caused by arsenic exposure, this is how it is. And it's very prevalent in the western region, where in Takwa, for example, as far as back as 2014, 8% of all the surface water was polluted, and about 30% of groundwater was also polluted. That was 2014. And this is black foot disease caused by arsenic poison. I have to rush. Yeah, so this examination that CSIR did in the Lower Prague Basin in 2014. At that time, the levels of mercury were very high. The safe levels are 0.002 milligram per liter. But if you look at certain areas in the Prague Basin, it exceeded the safe limits. So also lead. But cadmium was just normal. That was 2014. We need to do some more studies to know the level now. So I said that it would be very dangerous to eat vegetables, especially salads, greens from mining areas because of the pollution. And that is why we do what we call phytoremediation. And I think the Minister of Agriculture should think about these things. We need to plant certain things that to absorb or take out the poison, the metals in the body. So we know that if you plant sunflower, it will absorb magnesium and chromium. Broccoli, cabbage and broccoli will take care of lead, zinc, and cadmium. So also water lettuce, which will absorb cadmium, mercury, chromium, and copper. And then water hyacinth will take care of the rest. So it will be unwise for anybody living in the mining areas to plant things. You will poison yourself. And so we think that Minister of Agriculture should look at these things as we fight illegal mining to go into areas where we can gradually absorb. You have to plant this in cycles, maybe 10, 20 cycles, so that the level of poisons will come down. Meanwhile, Chinese people are helping us destroy our farmlands, but they are growing cocoa. Seriously. This is cocoa from China, and it's grown on Hainan Island. I'll tell you some more. You see, we all read it. October 15th, 2020, China exported a batch of 500 kilograms of cocoa beans worth 3,000 euro, about $3,600 to Belgium. 500 kilograms. The cocoa was produced by this company on the Hainan Island, which is in the South China Sea, which are the same climate as Ghana, almost. Now, compare what the Chinese sold to what we got from our cocoa, which was 2,600 per 1,000 grams, 1,000 kilograms. So theirs was more expensive than ours. Now, keep those figures in mind. It was in 1885 that Ghana exported its first cocoa, 500 kilograms, or 10 bags. Then in 1911, not too long after that, Ghana became the #1 producer when we produced only 41,000 tons of cocoa. And we remained #1 until 1987 when Brazil took over, and then we again, and then went over to Ivory Coast in 1978. Since then, we are lost. So remember, the Chinese exported 500 kilograms recently, and we did the same thing in 1885, and a few years later, we became the #1 producer with 41,000 tons. Now, right now, cocoa production is being devastated. It's going down, especially in the western region, western north, through the CSSVD, that is the cocoa showing shoot virus disease. Over aged moribund trees, loss of farmlands to galamsey, soil and water pollution are causing cocoa production to go down. But this thing is. So, on the 3rd of April 2020, the Minister of Food and Agriculture said that because of the scourge of swollen shoot disease, Ghana will achieve about 700,000 tons of production that year, which was below the targeted 1 million tons for that year. So we have realized that the cocoa production is going down. And then again, on the 13th of August 2020, Graphic Online reported that within the last decade, cocoa production in Western North region has dropped from 340,000 tons to 140,000 tons. A development attributed mainly to swollen shoot disease. So our production is going down. So now this is Hainan Island. That is a red dot beneath China. Area of 33,000 square kilometers. That's about 14% the size of Ghana. Population 8 million. Climate mostly tropical.
Life insurance. What's your excuse for putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think your work coverage is enough? There's a lot of excuses for putting off life insurance, but one big reason why you shouldn't. If the unexpected were to happen to you, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' tuition, and all the other bills? In a time of grief, the last thing you would want is for your family to have to sell the house and struggle to survive financially. At Ethos, we could get you covered in just 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Rates can increase the longer you wait, so no more excuses. Take 10 minutes today and discover the modern way to get the life insurance coverage you need. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethoslife.com/audio. That's ethoslife.com/audio.
The Louisiana Swamplands. Out here, you're either lunch or you're enjoying it. Make sure you end up on top with the all-powerful lineup of Kia SUVs, like the Telluride, Sportage, and Sorrento, equipped with available all-wheel drive, higher ground clearance, and the interior capacity to bring everything you need, so you'll always remain more than a gator's length ahead. Visit your local Kia dealer today to find your next adventure in our ever-capable lineup of SUVs. Kia, movement that inspires.
Call 800-3334-KIA for details. Always drive safely.
Clean temperature 25, 29, and that is the site of where they land their satellites. The crops that are producing now are cocoa, palm, oil palm, pepper, lemongrass, cashew, sugarcane, and cocoa. Meanwhile, they are producing cassava, plenty of it, and they have the machinery to process the cassava. China is I need help. Who can help me? Please, can you do it from your end? So when I raise my hand, you change it. Yes, so I'll be finished very soon. This is Gary produced from China. And when they are advertising it, do you know what they say? Produced from unpolluted land. That's how they sell their Gary in Europe. China is a major producer of Gary. And these are other things that they produce. Pawpaw, pineapple, avocado, coconut, watermelon, and all the things that you see around are produced in Hainan. Now, I'm going to ask a question. What is a narco state? A narco state is a country whose economy is dependent on the trade in illegal drugs. A narco state, as we find in some countries, somewhere in America, is a country whose economy is dependent upon the trade in illegal gold mining. Next slide. So galamsey State is a country in the grip of illegal gold mining whose economy appears to be dependent on illegal gold trade. Can we say that? Can we define galamsey State as being that? A country in the grip of illegal gold mining whose economy appears to be dependent on illegal gold trade. Next slide. Is Ghana a galamsey state? So, I'm come to an end. So, for those who want to destroy the earth, Ghana, this is what the book of the Bible says in Revelation chapter 11 and verse 18. It says, the nations were angry, and your wrath has come. The time has come for judging the dead and for rewarding your servants, the prophets, and your people who revere you, your name, both great and small, and for destroying those who destroyed the earth. If we believe in God and we do a lot of things for him, build churches and do other things for him, and this is what I'm saying. This is what the Bible is saying. Next slide. I thank you for your attention.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Kwabena Frimpong-Boateng with that presentation. You can do it better for him. We'll be joined shortly via Zoom by the Minister in charge of Lands and Natural Resources, currently attending the COP in Dubai. He will join us shortly via Zoom with his keynote address. Then we can get into the panel discussion. But remember, we're live on the Joy News channel on Joy 99.7 FM. I'm looking for the man that he comes from the same town with at this point. I want to have a quick interaction with you. Prof, did you see the man that you come from the same hometown with in Manso? Did you find him? No, you mentioned that you come from the same hometown with the man. He's here. Okay, welcome, sir. Well, so he's been painting the picture, at least in his hometown to us. I'm sure you can back it. No, in your hometown. What was the situation, you say?
In Manso, Asamai, I think it's a predominantly galamsey area. They have been operating this from their ancestors. And when you come to the area, you find the small-scale mining as their trade and craft, because it has been handed over from generations to generations. And the people are so much involved, and they have no interest in farming activities, because they get less when they want to do farming. And by the absence of this illegal mining, the whole area has been destroyed, and it's not sustainable for other agricultural practices. Well,
this is an area that my colleague Erastus Asaredongo has mentioned a number of times. And ladies and gentlemen, it's a good time to introduce the PAV Answer Journalist of the Year, Erastus Asaredongo. You have to join me at this point before we do the screening. Please, Erastus, come. You're welcome, Erastus. We've heard a lot about Manso, and you've heard Prof also talk about it, but we'll be getting into the panel discussion. Let me not get ahead of myself. But this introduction for the screening, you would have to do it. We would want to talk about your experiences. Many would want to hear, we've talked about it severally, but we would want to hear exactly what you and your team went through, which period you had to go through to do this particular work. We know Distraction for Gold, now Poison for Gold. Let's talk a bit about what the team went through to put this together.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to you all. Prof has said a lot. In fact, he initiated me into this whole galamsey fight. Starting with following interministerial committee around, and before then I was also following other under former President Mahama's task force. I've been following them around as well. We've gone through a lot to produce Distraction for Gold, and it took us 6 months to do that.